A woman in the early 1800s once asked the famous Charles Spurgeon, "Governor, how can a good God send anyone to an eternity of eternal damnation?" And he looked at her and he says, "My good lady, how is it that God can send anyone to heaven?" The issue that we're talking about here is fairness. A lot of people have this idea, this notion that it is unfair for God to send unrepentant sinners to an eternity of hell. And the reality is, how is it that God can send anyone or take anyone to heaven? Who deserves it? If God were to be fair, if he were to be fair, none of us would go to heaven. None of us, if God were to be fair. If God were to be fair, we would all perish in a moment. All humanity would be erased off the face of the earth if God were to be fair. But what did he do? He sent his son to the cross to die for us so that we, who deserve to be treated fairly, to be treated equitably, to be treated with the exactness of justice that we deserve, Jesus died on the cross to give us the ability to escape that justice, that fairness, that equitability. He died so that we can escape God's fairness. That's what Jesus did on the cross. But does that mean that the punishment that was due to us who believe is not rendered? No. The judgment and the penalty that we deserve, the justice that we deserve, those of us who have received God's grace, our punishment was put on Christ. He handled it for us so that we wouldn't have to endure it. The fairness that we deserved, the justice we deserved, happened to him. No one has ever questioned whether or not it was fair for God to send his son to die for sinners, let alone unrepentant sinners who refused to accept his grace. Was it fair for God to send Jesus Christ to die for us? The question is, how could a God be so good that he would do this for us? And yet he did anyway, because we do not deserve anything but God's fairness, which is not what you want to have happen to you.